Gabe Cook here with Debate Kansas City, coming to talk to you about our first evidence release of the summer. We are preparing for the upcoming debate topic that'll start in the fall, the topic of poverty and whether or not the federal government should increase social services for those living in poverty in the United States. Like I say, Debate Kansas City is hard at work preparing files for next year's debate, and we are proud to release our affirmative file. And if you know anything about Debate Kansas City, you know that novices, new students to the program, will be required to use this file at the first couple tournaments of the year. So if you're thinking about debating, it's a good idea to check out this file over the summer and get familiar with it. Or if you're a varsity debater, you could potentially use this affirmative or tweak it somehow on next year's topic. And you can also learn it so that you can teach novices that come onto your team how to debate. So let's talk about the file. Community schools. The idea behind community schools is that the schools should be open longer and they should offer social services. The school can be a place where the community comes if they have problems and they need government assistance for a number of reasons. They can come to the school and get access to those social services. And I'll sort of run you through the main parts of the case. It begins with the problem. And the problem described in the community schools affirmative is that America is failing children living in poverty. And it goes something like this. Since 1999, there has been a 41% increase in the number of people living in high poverty neighborhoods. As John Edwards said, who may not be the best husband in the world, but was certainly an advocate for fighting poverty, we have two Americas, divided between the haves and the have-nots. And poverty is increasing, and that division is increasing. You've got the haves who have a comfortable enough lifestyle and have access to good enough schools, and then you have a growing population of people who don't have access to a quality education and live in very impoverished neighborhoods. And then we cite some evidence that says in many U.S. schools in high areas of poverty, their educational outcomes are on par with third world countries, and that people with privilege, students with privilege, do much better in the education system than those without. So the argument is this is a big problem. Poverty is increasing, concentrated poverty is increasing, and if our schools aren't preparing children in high poverty neighborhoods to go off, get better jobs, and break the cycle, then the cycle will continue. So then we check out the cause. The cause argument has to do with our education system. A few years ago, we passed No Child Left Behind, and it sets a number of standards and did a bunch of testing. And what No Child Left Behind did was brought to light the achievement gap and sort of showed that you've got some schools that are doing really well and then some schools that are doing very poorly. The problem with No Child Left Behind is it actually makes the achievement gap worse because the only solutions that it offers is more testing and more standards. But what it doesn't do is recognize the link between economics and education, and that we have to recognize the link between economics and education if we're going to fix the education system. The argument goes something like this. You know, if a young lady has a toothache, it's going to be very difficult for her to concentrate on her classroom work. So what schools need to think about is how to get social services involved so that that child who has poor dental care could get that dental care. And then she's going to have an easier time adapting in school. Other things, if you provide after-school meals, you'll get vastly increased participation in after-school programs. And there's just a number of things that a school could do to incorporate social services and recognize the link between economics and education. But unfortunately, we're not doing that now. What the affirmative argues finally is the solution is that we need to start a concept known as community schools. And a number of them already exist all over the country, and they've been pretty successful. The solution evidence cites a study of 20 different community schools, and it found very significant outcomes. Student learning improved, families were more involved in their children's education, the school was more effective in how it provided its programs and created a connection with parents. And finally, the communities where these community schools exist stabilized or improved. So community schools help students learn better, and they help communities themselves improve and create a greater connection between parents, teachers, and the schools. So basically what happens is a school is open almost all the time. You know, the doors open early, they close late. Social services, community activities are happening in the schools. They're open year-round, and they become a real hub of activity that connects communities to schools and children. And so the idea is you look at areas, especially areas of high concentrations of poverty, and use the school to network the services needed to try to alleviate that poverty and then give children hope for a better education. And the way the program works, the specifics of it, the Department of Education in 2008 began a program where they provided $5 million to start 12 community schools. But they had 450 applicants who wanted to start community schools. So what the affirmative case will do is say all of those applicants that are qualified, we would fund you, and future applicants would be encouraged so that we can try and get community schools up and going across the country. And per school, it's only costing around $200,000 to start a community school, sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on the situation. So that's a quick summary of the Community Schools Affirmative File. I would encourage you to check it out on our blog. If you have the password, you can access it. You go to the DKC blog. You can find a link on our main website, debatekansascity.org. If you go to What We Do, you can click on the blog and it'll take you there. And you will find this file under the Resources link. You have to know the password in order to get the file, but if you're a Debate Kansas City student, it's very easy to get access to that password. So I would encourage you to go through it, look at the index, and if you're working on it over the summer and you have any questions, you could email or call me to talk about it if you have any ideas to share. My email is my name in reverse, cookgabe@umkc.edu, and hopefully you can check out this file and get a little head start in the upcoming season. Hope your summer goes well, and there should be future releases of DKC files throughout the summer. Take care.